So yeah, it was a time that I'll just tell it briefly. I tell it on Rich Roll, and Rich Roll asked me to tell it because he heard it on Joe Rogan. So, but I'll tell it briefly here. We were in a band. We were all monks, but we started a band that was all monks, and they were called Shelter. And Shelter was on tour, and we started becoming more popular than Youth of Today, which is the band I quit. I gave it up and became a regular old monk for 2 years. And then after studying the Bhagavad Gita, which says, don't give up what you're good at, just do what you're good at in a spiritual way. And I was like, okay, that's what we're going to do. We're going to do a punk band with a bunch of monks in the ashram. And we got big and we started another record label and, in the ashram. And it was probably the first time historically that there was a celibate rock and roll band in the world. And so it was a great show. Everything was wonderful. The place was packed. We were headlining in some ghetto warehouse. And after the show and everything was breaking down, a gang of just thugs came out and they started kicking the crap out of people. And it was, the kids that went to these shows between 15, 25, and these guys were just serious thugs. And so anyway, they came up to me and we just said, you know what? It was almost eerie in the sense we were parked inside the club. They blocked us in with their car and they got out. The guy put his hand on a gun and just said, I got a gun and everybody's going to die tonight. And I was just it was so grim. And it was just sort of okay, I'm a monk. I study this stuff every day, the temporality of existence. And I was just all right, we're going to die. We're going to die. And so all the guys within the band were a little younger than me and our roadies. And so they're well, Raghunath, what are we going to do? And I was we're going to die. What do you mean, what are we going to do? We're going to die tonight. I was just
the man just said it. The man just said it.
Yeah. I was I don't know where I got this from because it's not I'm very composed and I'm not very spiritually advanced, but I went into the van, pulled out one of those clay Indian drums, and we got in a circle and we started chanting. And they just beat the hell out of everybody around us. People say now, well, why didn't you run? Why didn't you fight back? Why didn't you? I don't know why we didn't, but we didn't. We just chanted. But then they approached us and all the guys in the band ran in all different directions and they surrounded me. And I'm still holding this drum and I reach back and the guy reached for his gun and he just goes, do you want some? And I was just what do I do here? I was this guy's towering above me. He's completely ripped, And I just put my hands in prayer and just said, Hare Krishna. I am a devotee of Lord Krishna. And I have no idea why you're so upset. And I just sort of made that declaration. I'm a devotee of Krishna. I made I'm a devotee of God. And I don't know what can I say to pacify you, but that's all I could say. And all of a sudden I just felt for the first time in my life completely helpless, just at the mercy of a bunch of fists getting pounded in my face. Yeah, it was really a hopeless situation. Now, the interesting thing was, and this is the interesting thing about bhakti, because in the bhakti path, we work towards our devotion in our song, in our prayer, in our meditation, in our offerings, in our seva. It's we're working towards it, but it's not just a long ladder I have to climb. The idea is that we are reaching up and God is reaching down. It's not we're just reaching up, because there are some yogic disciplines where you have to raise the kundalini. You got to do the work. You have to be completely fit. You have to be completely sober. You have to isolate yourself. You can't let your mind go anywhere. In bhakti, it's not like that. Bhakti is we become dependent like a child and we just cry. And so when we cook, when we pray, when we chant, when we meditate, when we sing and kirtan, it's all like crying. We're crying out like a child would cry for the mother almost. And in that crying, the mother hears. So in one sense, if I tell the story, it makes me sound like I'm this stoic. I'm not. I was crying out. Every time I got punched and hit and eventually hit with baseball bats, I was just calling, oh, Krishna, hey, Krishna. And I was calling different, oh, Govinda, oh Chaitanya, and I'm just calling these different mantras out. And no, to answer your question, I wasn't hateful, and I wasn't even scared. Matter of fact, going through my mind was, oh wow, I'm going to leave my body, and I'm chanting. This is what great yogis, this is what they dream of. They dream of leaving their body and just chanting. Like that is like the goal of life. So I was actually, it sounds almost unreal. And it wasn't, again, it wasn't because I'm a spiritually evolved being. It was, I felt like I was given some glimpse of what being evolved will feel like, where you actually feel like I'm fearless. Because that fearlessness, usually we talk about fearless and we throw that word around like I'm just going to jump off this cliff into a river. I don't care. It's crazy. I'm going to do it. I'm just going to paraglide. That's not fearless. That's just like talking yourself into, precarious situations. Sometimes it's, not no fear. It's like no brains. But real fearlessness comes at an advanced part of yoga where you completely understand that you can't die. That all you do is change bodies, and that you will never, they cannot catch the soul. They cannot catch the subtle body. They could just shoot your body, shoot your gross body, but nothing will happen to you. Boom, you'll still be there witnessing.